Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting
Your
to
mother's
you,
butt.
babe. Sheesh.
Good one, Lil.
From that day.
All right. Well,
So what's up, guys?
How's everybody doing?
I'm digging these olives.
Yeah, those are good.
That's dinner.
Right?
Yeah, so far that's
Jalapeno stuffed olives and
I
coffee.
had for dinner, we got those from the Raw Juice Bar. And I got
love
my
them.
coffee shake, but I added spinach and kale
Yeah.
and banana.
You put kale in
Where
there?
is this?
I did.
Oh, you're a fucking monster.
It's a Raw Juice Bar.
Nearby?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's on Grubhub.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It was delicious.
Dude, we went and got a smoothie a couple weeks ago. That was good.
Just one time.
Not one time. I was thinking
That
about
one
making a
time Jay
smoothie
was
today.
healthy.
So, in spirit of today's episode, I'll ask you guys,
Okay.
starting with Steven,
Oh, God.
what is your favorite holiday?
Before we begin, can I say I remembered the burger?
Sure.
My
Oh, I do
favorite
want to. I do
burger?
want to hear the burger.
Okay.
What is
Okay.
This gives me time to think.
I had a revelation a couple of days later, and I was like, "What the fuck? I know my favorite burger. It is in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to
on
Florida for burgers. Apparently,
Atlantic Beach,
In Jacksonville.
Okay.
In
Yep.
Jacksonville. in a really neat place called
The anticipation.
mother's
Look, she
butt.
forgot.
Pose.
Hose.
Pose Tavern.
Pose.
She said hose. A really
Pose.
cool place named Hose.
Edgar
It's right next to
Allan
Hooters.
Poe.
Oh.
It's called Pose. It's got an Edgar Allan Poe theme.
Yeah.
Like you
Oh,
walk
look at
into the
that.
bathrooms.
We should go.
That's really,
It's really cool. And like you walk into the bathrooms and it's not wallpaper. It's torn pages from books he's written. It's really cool.
That's,
Oh,
you
that
know
is
what's going to be
cool.
really cool is if we get a picture of you in your full Edgar Allan Poe costume when you lose this bet to me. And
Yeah,
we
we'll
should
make it
take
down
a
there.
trip to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Alabama.
Jackson.
That's okay. I never want to call it Jacksonville. I want to call it Jackson because of the Johnny Cash song.
It's a great song.
So, anyways, we're going to have to go down there and we'll get her picture there.
You guys want to go surfing at Atlantic Beach where they have like monster 2-foot waves?
I don't surf.
I don't surf either.
We
I
went
tried-
surfing down there.
That's
My
what I was
first time
referencing.
ever trying to surf was in Hawaii. And
Check your privilege.
what?
Yeah.
No, I could.
So
I
I'm just
legitimately
a
could not.
Naval Academy guy who
I
went
leg-
surfing in Hawaii.
No, I didn't go surfing in Hawaii. I tried, and I legitimately could not paddle past the breakers, and I had bloody nips. So I was like, "Fuck this!"
Ooh.
I grabbed some fins and I went free diving. I was like, "See, I can do this. I can go under the water." Could not swim on top of it.
You know, let's go out on the street and find somebody laying under a cardboard box and axe.
a cardboard
Axe.
box, an axe.
I can't talk.
Jay, what month are we in now?
February.
Oh my
Good for you, bud.
So holiday.
god. Okay, favorite holiday.
You're first, babe.
Oh God.
Oh, okay.
Groundhog Day.
You called me babe.
I don't believe that.
That's my uncle's
I don't feel
birthday.
I don't believe that's a true statement.
I forgot to
not.
tell him happy birthday. Happy birthday, Uncle Dan.
It's not true. I think my favorite
birthday, Uncle
my
Dan.
favorite holiday is Christmas
Oh, that's a good one.
Is why?
because I've already given up on my diet since Thanksgiving. And I've
Fair.
gotten past the guilt phase, and I'm in the acceptance stage of I'll fix this in 6 days on New Year's, and I'm just in fuck it mode. Like,
So-
what? See it,
The thing
eat it.
about Christmas though is I almost get depressed on Christmas Day because the season's over.
No, it's not New Year's.
No,
No.
no, it's over.
It's
like
over
Christmas
Day.
like Christmas around like 9
I don't
o'clock
get
at
depressed
night.
any other holiday like I do on Christmas.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Like
different.
9
Is
o'clock
it-
at night on Christmas, I'm like, oh, I
Is it
got
over?
365 days
Because
until
if
this.
my wife and her family had any say in it, our Christmas tree would still be up in the living room.
no,
So,
I do.
I like to keep it up till like New Year's,
I like to keep
Yeah,
it up
New
to
Year's.
like New Year's.
yeah,
but it's over.
but she also likes to put it up
We
at Halloween.
also
That would
kept
be my ideal too.
we also kept our Christmas lights up at our house at our townhouse until March when the landscaping company took them down.
This wasn't this past year. Obviously, it's only February. It was last year.
Yeah, it a little embarrassing.
That's
I'm from
fine.
Georgia.
Just
I'm
like-
used to it.
Like we wanted to thank them because they like took them off the tree and rolled them up and put them on our front steps, and we were like, "Huh,
You're like, thanks, guys.
thanks," because it was like intertwined on all the branches on the tree. Anyway, Meg,
Yeah.
what's yours?
So you know how indecisive I am. I have
Oh, boy,
two
you
favorite
can't.
holidays.
She's gonna list every holiday of the year.
I have two favorites, hardcore favorites.
Okay.
Christmas, because obviously it is the most wonderful time of the year.
Because presents.
No, I mean I enjoy the presents, but I feel like
Don't
people are like
even.
nicer with the Christmas spirit.
We're not talking
You
Christmas
know,
presents.
and I love the decorations and Santa, and it's Jesus' birthday.
What?
But my other is 4th of July because I like to blow shit up.
What about throw shit off the porch?
Throw shit off the porch.
Sure.
Mardi Gras.
And I like
Free boobies.
and I like to just drink beer all day in the summer and then go blow things up and possibly lose a hand.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I can. Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk Christmas presents in this household.
I will go with 2 as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip Christmas. Though I love it. I love the season, not the holiday. So it doesn't count.
Okay.
So my favorites would be obviously Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween's so much fun.
Halloween is fun.
especially now.
Yeah. Okay. Why?
Why? What?
Why now?
Because this time last year, if I talked about ghosts, I had no friends to talk about them with.
Oh, okay.
Steve, that is morbidly depressing.
Yeah.
Now you've
Yeah.
got us and my
Wait till you
mom.
read my journal.
I don't want to.
All right, and my second favorite would be I love 4th of July.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I do.
All right, Jay.
Lily and I have our outfits picked out.
Did I tell you we have outfits?
And
No, not
I would
yet.
like to say I dress up the whole week, you guys. I'm
Of
gonna have
course you
multiple
do.
outfits.
I'm not going to do that. It's a pair of overalls,
Is it pajoveralls?
not
No.
overalls,
Ah.
which would be awesome,
Agreed.
but no.
All right. That's fair. So 2 Christmases, 1 Halloween, and 1 4th of July.
2
Two
4th of
4th of
July.
July.
2 4th of Julys.
Well, if we
okay.
okay, so everyone's done 2. I would like to add Halloween in as my second.
Okay.
Okay. So now I've lost
2
count.
Halloween, 2
Two
4th of
Halloweens.
July's, 2 Christmas.
Yeah. 2
okay.
2 2.
Okay. Okay.
Jay's
What
the
are yours,
tiebreaker.
Jay?
Okay.
He's
so
gonna be like Arbor Day.
no, and
I love trees.
I'm open. I'm open to positional on this, and I'm gonna
Abe Lincoln's birthday.
I'm gonna defer to my wife's previous judgment on this in a few years ago. I don't think it's a holiday, but since it's classified as a holiday in her eyes, I love it because football and food.
the
The
Super Bowl.
Do
Yeah,
you
that's totally a holiday.
Well, well, well.
Like that's like boom, number 3.
It's apparently we played trivia one night, and apparently it's the number 1 holiday, quote unquote, for calorie consumption, which
it is.
makes
I was
sense.
just gonna say that.
I'd like to say that
It's
we were at a bar before COVID, and I said, I think we were supposed to name the top 3 for calorie consumption holidays, and everybody got like Christmas and Thanksgiving,
But no
and
one
I
remembered.
said the
Super Bowl.
and everyone looked at me, basically told me I was an asshole, and I was wrong. And wouldn't you know it,
You were right.
I was right.
It's Super Bowl, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yes, but I
Yes.
don't. I'm agreeing to the parameter set here, but I don't agree that the Super Bowl is a quote unquote holiday.
Yes, it is.
It's a sporting event. Is the World Series a holiday?
I wish.
Yes.
That would be great.
Is the Stanley Cup? Is the NBA championship?
Okay. So here
No.
I agree.
That was Stelly.
So I agree. However, Colin,
Oh, fuck you.
What?
You're going to agree with them, aren't you?
However,
What?
That it is a holiday.
No, I actually don't think it is. But it's more of a personal reason because
Because he likes the Falcons and they suck.
Womp, 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 womp,
all right, what's your second holiday, Jay?
that must have been the reason.
Honestly, my second holiday is probably Memorial Day, and let me tell you why. Because for me, Memorial Day is A, the kickoff to summer,
Yeah, it is.
and B, usually signifies, like, in terms of, like, mental headspace, the fucking semester is over or the school year is over.
And it often
It's true.
ends up on my birthday.
See, I thought
That's exciting.
that you were gonna have some like deep patriotic and
No,
memorable.
not at all.
No,
Hey,
I'm with
No,
you.
not at all.
Do
But
you-
for me, it signifies start to summer, which means, like, boating and lake time and outdoor
I wanna go on a
activities.
Yes,
boat.
let me check my privilege because I got bloody nips in Hawaii one time.
Do you guys remember that Super Bowl when the Falcons played?
Oh, the
The
greatest
Patriots?
comeback in history.
Yeah.
So I asked this because as a segue into our episode
How do
today.
you spell segue? Is it SEGUE or
I think
SEGWAY?
it's CEGHWHEY.
That's crazy.
Aja, AHAI.
AJAHAI. She
Anywho,
just presses her face up against the cage and goes,
Ah.
this is who we've decided to hitch our wagon to, babe.
Yeah, you guys literally
These two.
looked out
Have
in the
you seen
crowd.
This Is the End?
No.
Oh.
What?
So you did not get that joke.
No,
at
I
all.
didn't.
Oh, okay. Well,
She
we'll
just
show
thought
it
you
to
were
you.
retarded.
You definitely
Dumb.
need to see that.
She thought you were dumb.
I would say that you guys looked out at the crowd and were like, those guys. But it was more like Meg looked out on the production line and was like,
Oh boy.
that one.
Okay, yeah. To
Yeah, fuck me. He'll just
segue into this.
Shegwa.
segue.
Today's episode is
Sigourney
on-
Weaver.
What?
I don't know. Segway, Shigway, and then I went Sigourney Weaver.
Like
The fuck have you
like
been
30
smoking?
seconds late. Okay, today's episode is on the Valentine's Day Massacre.
Bang, bang. Pew, 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 pew.
The great.
Someone
I
call
thought you were gonna say pubes.
911.
This is the town of Tony, Montana.
No, I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
No,
Okay, we
play it
have
for
to.
me later.
No, we have to because it's going to go in the episode.
Oh boy.
Don't judge me. It's worth. It's the one, the Captain Jack Sparrow song with Michael Bolton.
Oh, yes.
I know that one.
He's got a scene in there where he's like, okay. He's playing Scarface instead. He's like, I'm reloaded.
Ah.
See, there was a point to this.
Okay.
No, I won't play it now, but you have to.
I'm ready for your story, guys.
Me too.
Wow.
What year is it?
In the Chinese calendar, it's the year of your mother's butt. Now let's
Wouldn't
continue.
that be amazing?
Wouldn't it?
I think it's the year of the blue swan, but I could be wrong.
What
Dude,
if you
I
were
got the
born in the year of
weirdest
your mother's
fortune.
butt? You'd be born in your mother's butt.
I got the weirdest fucking fortune cookie last night.
Did you?
Do you remember what it said?
I don't remember what the actual verbiage of it said, but like we Googled it and it
The
meant
word
like,
doesn't even exist, by the way.
and it meant in whatever terms it was that if someone creative is coming to town and they stay at your house, she would have to fuck them.
That's not.
What?
That's what came from the forums. So it was like some weirdly indescript thing, and there was a word in it that
It was
Doesn't
like
even
Creole.
exist.
It was like
Yeah.
Creole.
yeah, and it doesn't even exist because I googled it. I was like, "What the fuck? Am I just some dumb bitch?" I'm not. Doesn't exist because it's a Chinese fortune cookie. So clearly they just don't know
where their
words.
menu says "we delivery."
Yes, exactly.
we delivery.
So-
and
So do you think that while we get these Chinese tattoos that say like foot, toenail, neck
Yeah,
massage, they have
absolutely.
fortune cookies in English
yeah.
like that?
My
Yeah.
back probably says like peacock yellow sunshine flower.
That's
I hope
oddly
so.
specific.
I hope so. So yeah, this fortune was really weird, and we looked it up, and there are a bunch of forums related to this exact fortune, and people being like, "I don't know what that is." So my interpretation is, if someone comes in, you have to fuck them. The end.
Well,
But that was like a general consensus. It wasn't just like one user.
I should have just taken a picture of it so you could see.
Hmm.
Really weird.
You
It's
should have.
really fucked
So yeah,
So-
we had Chinese food.
up. So anyway, Jay said that
That's pretty
nobody
good.
can come visit for a while.
wow.
They're barred.
All right. So let's go to
The Valentine's Day.
the Valentine's Day
Massacre.
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 We're gonna hop in our time machine and we're gonna travel back.
A hot tub time machine?
Oh god,
That would
I
be
wish.
ideal,
Oh,
wouldn't
yes.
it?
We're gonna travel back to the 1920s, the age of big music, flappers, tall
Plagues.
hats, long coats,
And rip roaring depressions.
and illegal alcohol.
And the
And
plague.
100 years later, it's all about the same.
Amen, brother.
Retweet, fam.
So, here we are in the 1920s. Lily's favorite city Chicago.
Chicago.
Terrible city.
Well, not back then.
Our neighbor is from Chicago. She's very nice. We
Your
bonded
mother's butt
tonight.
is from Chicago.
It's not.
No, she's not a fan of Chicago, actually.
She kindly asks that you stop making your mother's butt jokes, by the way.
Wow.
Okay.
Like me or everybody?
She specifically said Meg.
So we're in the 1920s, and as we've already discussed on a previous episode, the one about the Hotel Monte V, the 1920s were riddled with a lack of alcohol. And this was caused by the 18th Amendment being passed,
What a
Which-
dark time.
right? Which it made it illegal. It was the number one illegal drug in the United States of the
It-
time.
Did you know it's number 3 most addictive substance? Apparently?
And it's
Alcohol is?
legal. We just
Yeah, and
got
it's
weed
legal.
legal.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Like,
Watch a documentary the
like,
other day.
Yeah, I think it's
I'll tell you, what I'd like to imagine when people get high, I don't know exactly.
No?
I like to imagine that they just like to sit around. Whereas people who drink alcohol like to throw shit off the porch or go driving really fast.
yeah, as we've already said, July 4th. That's what my wife likes to do.
Throw shit
You
off the
know
porch.
it.
Porch and drive really fast.
But yeah, it is. It's like the number 3 most addictive, behind number 2, which I believe is meth, and number 1, which is dank memes. So,
I actually think
fucking
it's
love
crack
dank
cocaine.
memes.
no, well, that'll do it.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
It is crack.
Cocaina.
But also memes.
Love
They're
memes.
tied for first.
Yeah,
Imgur did see a meteoric rise to stardom.
absolutely.
My favorite app.
So,
Love it.
as with any illegal substance, there are always going to be those people that are looking to make a profit.
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
I would
just
have lived in a speakeasy in the 20s.
well, it's funny you
believe
mentioned
it.
a speakeasy because what is a speakeasy? They were, generally speaking, they were these small local bars that were hidden in garages, in auto shops, behind newspaper stands, places that were very guarded. Oftentimes you'll see these in movies where it's, password protected and the sliding metal door. And
I have been to a speakeasy
have you?
in Chicago.
Of course you have.
It's one that you could not get in unless you had the password, and you would go down this long corridor of stairs, and it opened up into this gigantic fucking room, and it was like gilded and really beautiful, and they had cool drinks made with tobacco. It was really, really neat. I don't know where it is anymore. What the name is? I
Babe,
couldn't
if
tell
you open a bar in the future, it should be a speakeasy.
Name puzzles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Bender's next door. So,
We know.
You just geolocated yourself.
Whatever.
Someone's gonna come and knock on your door. Some crazed fan.
It's fine.
Terry from Reno 911.
Terry.
Trudy.
The Valentine's Day Massacre was spurred on by this first and foremost rise of the speakeasy and illegal alcohol smuggling. But we have to set the stage as to the kind of the political climate of the time in Chicago to understand exactly what the massacre was
Mhm.
and why it is one of the coldest cases in U.S. history, still to this day. So in 1909, there was a 27-year-old man named Johnny Torrio. He was, I don't remember exactly where he was from, but he was invited to Chicago by his cousin, Big Jim Colosimo. And as you can tell, many of these are Italian American names. That's kind of what you'll see in a lot of these 1920s, 1930s big crime
I love
gang. It's the Italian American gangs that are in that time. So Colosimo, that's really tough to say, owned and ran over 100 brothels throughout Chicago. So this
What
man,
a dude.
yeah, this man was like, what's his face in Game of Thrones?
Tyrion Lannister.
No,
Littlefinger.
Yeah, Littlefinger.
Oh,
That dude.
Littlefinger. Fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
So like this guy's Littlefinger of Chicago. He's probably got that accent. I don't know. I can't do a Chicago accent.
I'm just mad.
So Colosimo owned these 100 brothels, which naturally, anytime you own that much property, especially back then, you're going to have people that are challenging you. They're going to have people that are wondering, well, how can I get in on this? He's cutting into all my profits, see?
For sure.
So
See.
the Black Hand Society was a society in Chicago at the time that was a little bit secretive. For a long time, police and members of Chicago society didn't actually believe that it was an official Black Hand Society in the city, because the Black Hand Society was designed after what is known as the Black Hand method of extortion.
Okay.
So the Black Hand method of extortion is basically, it's kind of what you'd expect of the time. So the Black Hand method of extortion is where a letter is sent to the victim, whoever is going to be extorted, and it's basically telling them in no short terms they're fucked if they don't send the money. So that it'll discuss how they're going to burn them or, torture them,
Ooh, that's not
kidnap
good.
and murder
I'm
them.
going to start sending you guys black hand letters.
So
But it's going to
basically
be for like chicken wings.
it's written
I
blackmail.
like it.
It is, exactly. And so they would decorate these letters with pictures of hangman's nooses and skulls. And
Wouldn't it technically just be like blackmail?
Yes.
well, the reason it was called, thanks. The reason
Got
it's
you
called,
at your own game, motherfucker.
the reason it's called the
You did
Black
better than
Hand.
me.
What?
That was really good, dude.
I've had more practice. I hate you guys. That's all I have. They would sign these letters with a black hand or like the picture of a hand with black ink. And that's how you would mark it. So the Black Hand Society was prevalent in Sicily primarily. And that's why a lot of the Chicagoans at the time didn't want to admit or didn't want to believe that this society of people that used this method of extortion had made their way to America.
Is this kind of like the birth of the Italian mob? Are we looking at that era right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick question, Lil.
No, I mean it's for the recording. But
How would you feel if Jay was in like the mob?
I'd believe it.
I wouldn't do horse heads though. I think I'd do like
In Chicago, it's
doll heads.
goat heads.
I would be okay with it because like I feel like Steve would bring home plenty of money.
She's saying I don't support this family enough.
No, you do, but like
Drop out
as
of
long
the
as he
Navy,
wasn't
join
doing
a
anything
gang.
like super bad.
Torrio was this guy who was invited in by Colissimo, was brought in to deal with this Black Hand Society. Torrio was known as an enforcer and kind of a good organizer of muscle in some of the other small time gangs he'd been a part of prior to coming to Chicago. So he was brought in by Colissimo to deal with this Black Hand Society who was trying to extort him for this money, and it worked. He ended up getting rid of some of that society and the competitors that were causing the issue.
What a guy.
That was in 1909. So we fast forward 10 years, and Torrio has now become very high up in Colissimo's. I'm gonna call him Sea Dog.
Yeah.
He's
Sea-Dog.
he's really high up in Sea Dog's gang now, and he invites Al Capone from New York to become a bouncer at one of the brothels that he owned.
I fucking love Al Capone.
Me
by the way.
too.
So
in
this is-
in an
He's so
interesting way.
This
Not
is
a-
the early days of Al Capone then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So he knew Al Capone because Al Capone had been part of a couple of different small time gangs in New York, namely the Junior 40 Thieves and the Bowery Boys. And then as he moved up, he joined what was one of the more prevalent gangs of New York at the time, which was the 5 Points Gang. They kind of controlled all of lower Manhattan.
Oh, I've heard of this gang.
Yeah. So at the same time, he was employed at a Coney Island dance hall saloon. And this is a fun fact. While employed at the saloon, I read he accidentally insulted a woman who was coming into the saloon.
How do you accidentally assault somebody coming into the saloon? Like you I just accidentally roundhouse kicked her
No,
face.
insult. He accidentally
Insult.
insulted
I
her.
thought you said assault.
No. So he accidentally insulted her. Her brother very unaccidentally assaulted Al Capone with a knife to his face,
Oh, that's where he got the scar.
which is where he earned the nickname
How do you accidentally
Scarface.
insult someone though?
See, that I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if he
that's odd.
Yeah, I mean, especially back then. Nowadays, I could see, you slip up and say the wrong pronoun or something. Someone's
Like
going to get upset.
looking at a woman and being like, "Oh, when are you due?"
See, that
Maybe
could
he
work.
said that.
I don't know.
So, a little tangent. We were at the vet
Oh,
while Meg
gosh.
was pregnant, and it was kind of early in the pregnancy, but you could very obviously tell she
It
was
was like
pregnant.
midway. I think it
Sure.
was like 5
Yeah.
months.
So we come in, and then the vet looks at her, and she's like, "Oh, and congratulations, by the way." And Meg, bless her heart, has terrible hearing and sometimes gets distracted, and so
and masks made it worse.
and so this vet says, "Oh yeah, congratulations," and Meg's like, "What?" And the vet, this like very
nice
sweet
lady.
black girl, you could tell how red she got. She was so embarrassed. And so I step in. I'm like, no. She is pregnant. It's okay. And Meg's like, huh? What's happening?
No, when you said that, I was like, oh, yes, thank you. But like when she was like, oh, congratulations, like with her mask on and I can't hear with shit anyways. I was like, what?
And so she gave the vet a heart attack, making her think that she just called some like this new customer just
Yeah, it was also our first
fat.
time there.
Yikes.
I'm
anyway.
just gonna start going up to men and being like, "Congratulations, when are you due?"
Just be like, we never know anymore.
Just go up to a larger, older lady, like clearly in her 50s or 60s. Like, congratulations.
Would never do that to an old lady. An old man, sure.
I don't
Like,
know.
"Ah, no,
Old
that-
ladies get like really mean and bitter, whereas old
You do
men
that to an
get
old-
hilarious.
Yeah, you do that to an old man and be like, sorry, that's just my ball sack hanging out my short leg.
Ooh.
So
That's a sticky situation.
Especially in the summer.
Oh. Anyway, back to the 5 Points gang.
yeah, so this is where Al Capone gets his nickname for Scarface, which again, not super creative on the nickname. Gotta be honest, like
Scarface.
yeah.
Scarface.
not the most.
This is
brilliant
also
name.
the 20s before memes.
This is true. That's why alcohol was
The
so high on
number
the list.
one addictive substance.
No dank memes back then.
No dank memes.
Capone did move to Chicago on Torrio's request and became a bouncer for him. Actually, during this time, Al Capone contracted syphilis. Now, at the time, syphilis actually is treatable, even back then. At this time,
Penicillin.
yeah, if you get quick treatment.
Otherwise, you go crazy, fool.
Al Capone was like, I'm fine. I'm still, hoe around. So he never got treatment. I think Lil's got it.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I literally put that in the notes just for her.
I thought that was a cue for me, and I love it.
Yeah.
You've been waiting to use that.
Yeah.
So in 1920, so this is 1 year after Al Capone has moved to Chicago, Torrio becomes gang leader after Sea-Dog was murdered.
Colosimo.
Good old
Sea-Dog,
Sea-Dog.
good old Sea-Dog. See, I'm even more creative.
Yeah, sure.
So
The only thing I can think of being from Maine,
It's
when
the
you
brewery.
say, is when you say Sea Dog, the baseball team, the Portland Sea Dogs.
I think of the brewery.
oh,
This
no,
is
no,
a
no.
brew. It's,
Oh.
yeah, but I know where you're going with
Oh,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
I was confused at first, but now I see Dog.
I think of I think of seals.
So Sea Dog.
Like, they're like, well, sea dogs.
Did you not catch Steven's awful joke?
No,
God bless you.
I know.
It's okay. Now we
That's why
Sea
she's
Dog.
married to me.
I wasn't
Yeah,
really
'cause
paying
she doesn't get your
attention.
jokes. She just,
Um,
So
Capone was actually a suspect in Sea-Dog's murder. This is kind of,
sure.
another one of those things. It's never proven, but easy to see how if Torrio wanted to kind of take over, he has Al Capone was like, come on, Scarface, let's move on up.
Moving on
Sea-Dog,
up.
as he takes on this gang, decides it's time to franchise this bitch.
Sure. What's the buy-in?
I don't know, 1 Jamie stock.
This is this is
Dogecoin.
before McDonald's hit it.
Yeah. So he starts working with some Canadian bootleggers. So Sea-Dog had been working with Canadian bootleggers to bring alcohol into the U.S., and that's what they would sell to these speakeasies. Well, Torrio really kind of took that on and started pushing it a lot harder. Capone actually, after Torrio's taken over, at one point he was asked, did he ever know the Canadian king of bootleggers, a guy named Rocco Perry? It was another Italian guy who lived up in Canada at the time. And Capone's response to this question was like, I don't even know what street Canada is on.
Okay,
Just
you dumb bitch.
like
Oh,
real,
boy.
just real sassy. And during this time, Torrio is kind of in charge. What's up?
I just
Nothing.
love a good sass. I'm still
Oh.
thinking about it.
So Torrio is kind of in charge of the gang. Capone is using a lot of his free time to travel. He travels between Chicago and he owned an estate in Miami where he would kind of go back and forth. And that's actually, he used it relatively
crime.
awesome.
I have that later in notes too.
Yeah,
As
he
an
used it
alibi.
as an alibi pretty often. And there was actually a spot, I think it was in Kentucky, that he used to stop in,
Good old K-Tuck.
but I don't remember
I hate
exactly.
Kentucky.
What is it? You
Have you been to Kentucky?
Yeah, I love Kentucky.
Of course.
You
I've
want to
never
know
been
why?
to
You hear
Kentucky.
banjos at every fucking street corner.
Kentucky
Yeah.
is the home of the dog man.
Nope.
Anywho.
Just
Moving
another
on.
reason. I hate it.
Punch that ticket and let's go.
Yep, we'll save that for Steve's Crackpot Corner on Patreon.
Yeah.
So he would travel a lot and then use it as an alibi. During the 20s, Chicago was, I like to think of it as a game of Risk, where it's
Mhm.
all a whole bunch of man children who grew up and decide they want to play games like in the backyard. You're like, oh, this is my land, get off or whatever, and hit each other with
This
sticks.
land is your land.
Wow. So it was very similar to that, except everybody's got a gun now.
Sure.
And that's kind of how Chicago was at the time. There's a whole lot of delineated area where gangs had fought for territorial control, and it was just very. But at that time, there were treaties, there were delineated boundaries, there were places you could and couldn't go. It was very, I don't know. It was very an adult way to play a deadly game, I guess, is the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
This led to a lot of violent interactions. And especially as Torrio with this gang, he's enterprised and, really pushing for this alcohol and pushing for the income. He actually, about 2 weeks after Al Capone was at one point ambushed but not hurt, Torrio himself was ambushed, shot multiple times after he was returning home from a shopping trip.
So they don't sit down at a diplomatic table and discuss their problems?
Sometimes they do,
Like the United
not
Nations?
often, right?
Yeah.
This attack on him was committed by the largest rival gang known as the North Side Gang.
Hell yeah.
And they will come into play a little bit later.
Cubs fans, you know what I mean? Fuck you, White Sox.
I mean,
But also, fuck you, Brenda. You know what you did.
you know what's crazy? Before this most recent one, the last time the Cubs won the World Series, Al Capone was still in the gang. Yeah. How's that feel? So,
I don't know. When the
After
last
this
time your
attack-
stupid Braves won.
95.
Hmm.
So after this,
We don't talk about the Mariners.
Yeah, nobody brought them up.
You guys were talking about your
I'm
teams.
going to proceed to
I
talk
just-
about my team and say we don't talk about them.
You guys talked about your teams. I just wanted to do a little shout out.
Babe, we're talking about major league teams, not AAA affiliated.
I
Uh,
love you, Ems. You suck. But I love
Side
you.
note, how dare you? Ichiro Suzuki was there.
not denying they have good players.
Anyway, shut up, Meg.
Wow.
So after this ambush and attack, Torrio actually handed over control of the gang to Al Capone, who was only 26 at the time. With Al Capone in control, expansion of the gang's territory and finances really exploded. And I say that literally.
I knew that's what that was. Yep.
That one, come on, that was clever.
Not really.
It is
Dude,
because
you literally, set yourself up for your own joke.
is there a problem with that?
Little
Nobody
bit.
else does.
You're not John Mulaney here.
You're right. He's not in rehab.
Fine, he's not Joe Coy.
Wow.
We love you, babe.
You're right.
Continue
He's
with
not
your story.
Filipino.
Al Capone would sell his liquor that he'd gotten from these bootleggers to a bunch of establishments throughout Chicago. And he would go in and be like, you're going to buy my liquor. If they refused, he'd be like, okay, that's totally cool. And he would leave and then blow the establishment up. Just
My dude.
kaboom.
So he Vladimir Putin'd it.
Yeah, that's
So
why I
he
said.
also liked the 4th
That's
of
why I
July.
said business was booming.
I'm in acquisitions right now. This is a really great tactic. I'm going to pitch it to my boss.
We want to
The
buy your
views-
channel.
yeah.
No? Okay.
The views of Lily do not reflect the views of this podcast. We are not
Or
a
my
terrorist
current
organization. Please do
employer.
not remove us. These attacks on all of these establishments actually killed over 100 people throughout the 1920s. So he was a little indiscriminate with caring who was there and who wasn't. Al Capone was actually one of the more violent gang leaders, more so than Torrio and
He
Sea Dog.
was just an opportunist.
He was. But all of this, he was selling this alcohol and he was expanding territory into other gang territory. And this pissed off the other gangs, especially the North Side Gang, because he was starting to encroach on territory that they had not ever really given up. And he was pretty aggressive about it. And they were not happy.
He peeved.
He peeved. So as time went on, the North Side gang sought to get close to Capone. They kidnapped, tortured, and killed his driver. They tried at one point at his house and it just said draw him to the windows. So they had a plot to.
I hope they were just like throwing pebbles at the window.
I was like, what were they doing?
Right.
Come on,
Had a pretty lady walk by the window a bunch
That's
of
it.
times.
So I imagine it's like this teenage girl like throwing window. Come out. It's like 1 a.m. Like it's after curfew. Come out.
I have penicillin.
Right. But instead of a teenage, but
Fix your
instead of a
stiff,
teenage
baby.
girl or a pharmacist, there are people there waiting with Thompsons and shotguns. Blow a bunch of holes in his walls. Capone not hurt. So they obviously did not wait for the signal. Like, hey, wait till he's in the window. I imagine some itchy trigger fingers, just like, let's just shoot the house.
That's
up.
his nickname. There's Scarface and Trigger Finger.
There's a little finger,
Itchy
trigger finger.
He should probably get that checked out too. Nothing little penicillin won't fix.
Just look for the girl walking outside the window at 1 a.m.
Hence the name Itchy.
Oh.
Trigger Finger.
Um,
Man.
So after this, Capone attempted to set a truce with the Northside gang, but the exact terminology was negotiations fell through. So they just killed 3 more people within his gang.
Sure. why not?
Negotiations have stalled.
We've hit an impasse. The owner of a restaurant that was actually just a friend of Capone's, not even associated with the gang, they knew he was a friend. He was kidnapped and killed.
Deserved it, I
Wow.
I
So
guess.
just
No
anybody that was
mercy.
associated with him. Like,
Yeah,
Shitty
he probably just had like the best deep dish pizza, and Northside was like, nah, get out
guess.
of here.
Deep dish pizza is not pizza.
it's a lasagna.
Agreed. Don't
Thank
look
you.
at me like I'm going to argue that.
You just said it, and I got really irate. I'm so sorry. It wasn't necessarily directed at you. It's directed at the lasagna that's called a pizza.
Right?
I've never had a deep
Don't.
dish lasagna pizza. I don't know what to call it now.
It's not a
Lasagna.
pizza.
so
You call it.
deep
Deep
dish.
dish.
Deep
Okay.
dish is very good, but it's
Mm.
not a pizza.
I'm just so angry about it. I can't.
It
say
has
it's
the
good.
flavor profile and all the makings of a pizza, but it is not structured like a pizza.
Yeah, it's just.
So just imagine a pizza
Infuriating.
lasagna.
Yeah, it's
I
less
love
of a-
everything
I could
about
dig
Chicago.
that.
It's
hate
delicious.
that fucking bullshit.
Every
terminology.
bite that Lily takes is just laced with hatred and anger,
Yeah.
and she
She's
can't
like,
get
"This is
past it.
delicious. Fuck it.
It's assaulted with the disgust.
All right, so
Um,
back to the north side and the Van Buren
Yeah.
boys.
So eventually Capone started to leave Chicago at random intervals because he was starting to realize, hey, these people want me dead. So he would take his like close members of his gang. He would go on fully rented train cars. So eventually they would take these rented train cars and stay in them for vacations, and then they would go out and just go to Miami or go to just all these different places. At one point, he actually paid August Anheuser Busch Sr. $40,000 to stay in a 14-room beach villa in Miami. That is the equivalent of that. $609,000 is what he paid this guy just to stay in his place in Miami.
Absurdity.
Wow.
Not long. It was a couple of weeks. That kind of sets the stage, I think, pretty well for what we're going to get into, the old Valentine's Day Massacre. One last
Massacre.
note I want to make. The leader of the North Side gang that has kind of instituted all of these attacks on Al Capone is named George Bugs Moran. Bugs is his nickname. And he ran his own bootlegging ops, which is why he was so upset about this alcohol. He ran these operations out of a garage in northern Chicago. So, Lil, take it away.
Sup, team. Okay, so February 14th, 1929. 7 men were lined up shoulder to shoulder in a garage in North Chicago. They were facing the wall, and all of them were shot. Of the 7, 5 members were from the North Side gang, while 2 were just affiliates. So one of them was a mechanic in this garage, and the other was an optometrist.
Oh,
So-
Wow.
So the 5 that were associated with the gang were the gang members that are Bugs Malone?
Yes,
Yes.
these are members
Bugs
of the
Moran.
North Side.
From
Okay.
Bugs, sure.
Okay.
They were shot with 2 Thompson submachine guns and 2 shotguns.
I do love they had an optometrist just chilling in the garage.
I know. I was hoping this conversation would come back to the optometrist.
Like, was he like a
because
customer? Or was he like their optometrist?
I think that's the only thing that
Either
you can assume. He
I-
just happened to be there, maybe getting something fixed.
Yeah, it was either
Yeah.
that or he had to make sure that all the gang members could see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
So wrong place,
He
wrong
chuckled.
time
He
cereal.
chuckled,
I
and you
hate
tried
that Jay
not to.
laughed. No.
I
just
genuinely
want
didn't know where
to
that was
point out
going.
to all of our listeners, I did not chuckle because I listen to this all day, every day.
I'm
I
so
love you, babe.
sorry.
I just genuinely didn't know where that was going.
Okay. So this garage was off of Clark Street in Chicago. And out on Clark Street, neighbors heard these guns, but they mistook them for cars backfiring. Are we still laughing about this stupid stuff?
Now I'm actually laughing about the fact that they hear Thompson submachine guns.
Yeah, like rapid fire
And
guns. Are like, oh, that's a
shotguns.
lot of
Like-
backfiring.
Nah, the neighbor got a new Ford. See, I guess it's just
It
having
was
some trouble with the
definitely a
radiator.
Ford. It was definitely a Ford. Those cars suck. If you own a Ford,
That's gonna be
ditch it.
Lily if she ever hears a gunshot.
It's
a Ford. It's fine.
We had a Ford, and I swear to God, I wrote a list of things that I wanted to accomplish in my life, and number one was to take our Ford into the desert and light it on fire. This is not a joke. It was on that list.
Well,
Probably wouldn't make
you
it through the
ruined
desert.
that.
It would not make it to the desert at all. So anyway, they heard these gunshots. They thought it was cars backfiring. Others heard dogs over these gunshots because dogs were barking and panicking. Some neighbors saw men who appeared to be police leaving the building at the same time. Other neighbors looked out their windows and saw some men leaving the garage and getting into a black Cadillac. The car sped off and narrowly missed a trolley. It swerved and turned on Armitage Avenue. Soon after that, a neighbor went to the garage, opened the door, and he found all the dead bodies. Dead zo.
Wow. Rough day.
Rough day for those 7 people, for sure. One of the 7 men, actually, at this point, was still alive, but barely. His name was Frank Glutenburg.
So one of the guys out of the 7 was riding around with 6 corpses. Yikes. That's haunty for sure.
I don't like that at all.
So, the police were called, and the sergeant Thomas Luftus bent down to the man who was still alive, but the guy was shot 14 times, and the officer asked him if he knew him. He was like, yo, dude, you know me? The man was like, yes, and added, I won't talk.
You won't get me, Kappas. I'll
You
never
won't
talk.
get me. So, according to a newspaper after this, though, Glutenburg took another gasp of air and then said, cops did it.
I have to say, in her notes, Lily
It's
called
Glutenburg.
it Glutenburg.
I know. I think it must have autocorrected.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Glutenburg.
Guten Tag.
Glutenburg took another gasp of air and said the cops did it. So, after that, allegedly, he didn't say anything else. He was rushed to the hospital and died because he had 14 fucking gunshots right in that body of his.
I imagine if the optometrist had been there to help the shooters, he probably would have been dead on arrival, but oh well.
Surprised they didn't
Ladies
go to
and
church on the
gentlemen,
way
that's
back
my
'cause
husband.
They were holy.
Too holy for church, to be quite honest.
They were Catholics.
Ouch, I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic.
When was
So's
the
my
last time
dad.
you went to Catholic mass?
So anyway, what's going on with your story
I know the
here?
only reason he's Catholic is because of all the wine.
I feel like Catholic Mass, like,
W-H-I-N-E.
you go once to Catholic Mass and you're good for 6 months because you're there for fucking ever.
It's like 4 hours
Same for
long.
Episcopalian.
They feed you
That's what I
so
grew
much
up going
bread.
to. What? One little
And then you have to pay for that bread.
crisp.
Yeah,
Okay.
would have been Glutenburg.
Okay, that was a good one.
That one was a good one.
You gotta. There's an episode of not Frasier. God, you always call
Uh-huh.
it Frasier. Of Seinfeld, where George Costanza, every time he has
Can't stand you.
yeah, every time he has one good joke, he decides that he needs to stand up and leave the room because he can't top it, and he
Yes.
doesn't want to annoy
A
anyone.
little bit there.
And I watched this episode, Steve, and I was like, I need to tell Steve to watch this episode. So he just has this one joke and fucking
And then he leaves the
room.
Such a great show.
Yeah,
I'd
it was a
start
really
doing
great
that.
episode.
Oh, I love that show.
So at the time of this massacre, Capone was in Florida on one of his mini trips. But at this point, he was being interviewed by a prosecutor about his friend Frankie Yale's death. While he was there, the prosecutor started to press him about his finances. And Capone was like, what the fuck, dude? This is about my dead friend. But by the end of the interview, word had obviously spread about the massacre, and then days after this massacre, Capone was bragging about how he had a airtight alibi, which is kind of his thing. That's what he did. So Capone hated Moran. They were enemies, but Moran had a ton of other enemies too. It wasn't just Capone. And at the time, Moran wasn't even in the garage. So I had read perhaps that someone was out there actually for the Glutenburgs, not for Moran. Perhaps it was all business and someone was actually just there to hijack the bootleggers' goods rather than just like retaliatory, I'm going to go in and kill this North Side gang. All were pretty frequent and violent things to happen during this time, like going in, shooting people, stealing their booze. And
Yeah, not much has changed.
yeah. And then just bouncing. It's different in Chicago now, though. It's not just booze.
For crack.
Crack cocaine. Crack cocaine's what you want, Winston. Crack cocaine's what you're gonna get. There are several theories about this massacre. During the time frame leading up to the massacre, President-elect Herbert Hoover made
The
criminal...
vacuum guy?
Are you reading the notes?
No.
She put in the notes.
I
Jay
am not.
Jay will assuredly make the vacuum guy joke here.
That's hilarious.
That's staying in. Marriage, folks.
I wrote that in the notes. I was
We
typing
were
his
looking
name.
at each other, smiling and waiting.
I knew you would.
I'm too predictable.
I love that Lily knew that. I love it.
Anyway.
So the vacuum guy.
So the vacuum guy, President-elect vacuum guy.
President-elect Herbert Hoover, at this time, he made criminal justice a huge part of his platform. Yeah,
He wanted to clean up everything.
Yeah, you just as the vacuum guy, he just
Clean up
wanted
crime.
to clean up.
Sucking up all the
Did
crime.
not do a good job in Chicago.
Well, he was only the president-elect at this point, guys.
It's probably the Secretary of State Orrick was beating him out.
I have that in my notes, dude. It says he wanted to clean up gang violence.
Oh man.
Okay.
We'll get through this. We
The vacuum guy wanted to clean up the gang violence that had arisen from prohibition.
You just gotta give people back their booze.
Yeah.
That's all they
I
wanted.
mean, really.
That's all we wanted.
So Chicago Mag had said that Hoover was, quote, determined to repair the nation's criminal justice system and make an example of Capone. It further elaborated that the full story of the massacre really had not been told holistically, because everyone just sort of assumes that Capone was the one reasonable for the violent attack. I even was. Every time I heard this, I was like, oh, Capone's a
It's definitely
jackass.
Capone, yeah.
Yeah. But there was a theory that it wasn't. There are several theories that it wasn't Capone at all. And at this time, Herbert Hoover assuredly knew this. And he assigned several men in Chicago to find Capone, and that their, quote, refusal to acknowledge his innocence was one of the many reasons this crime went unsolved. So police, detectives, and the feds canvassed the north side of Chicago, interviewing everyone they could find for answers. And nobody, apparently, at this time knew anything. I'm sure they were all also just terrified of gangs.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, as a prosecutor, you either have to sack up and do it, or you have to acquiesce to what they want.
Yeah.
Well, the feds are canvassing the northern side of Chicago, which is the same place where the member of the north side gang
Exactly.
who was dying was like, I ain't talking.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
cops did it.
Exactly. So the U.S. Attorney, George E.Q. Johnson in Chicago, who was also the fellow in charge of the federal effort to arrest Capone, called this massacre, quote, the most amazing crime in Chicago's amazing criminal history. Two amazings in that.
Really tells you
pretty
the quality of
amazing.
Chicago.
That's pretty
Sure
amazing.
does in 1929.
I think it's interesting.
I was just gonna say the same thing. You ruined it.
Investigators obviously quickly said that Glutenburg's statement that the gunmen were police was fabricated, or perhaps that he just mistook the men for police, and said that the men were dressed like cops. This sentence is weird, basically, sorry. Investigators quickly said that Glutenburg's statement that the gunmen were police was fabricated. Another thing is that Capone's #1 executioner, Machine Gun Jack,
Not Machine Gun Kelly.
no,
Not to be confused.
not to be confused,
Okay.
no relation either, was located by police, and he was calm as a cucumber during his interview. He said he was not responsible, and the Glutenburgs hated him so much. So if they saw him there in the garage, he said, quote, the Glutenburg boys would have plugged me if they saw me a block away. So he's like, no, it's not me. They definitely would have said something.
I wonder what his brother Pistol Pete would have said.
Nothing, I guess. I don't know.
Shotgun Sam.
I like Shotgun Sally better.
Yeah.
You're
Why
right.
does
You're
this
right.
have to
I was
be... Yeah.
I just
Shotgun
I
Sally.
think it just flows nicely.
Okay.
Sure.
Kissing Kate Bosworth.
So another theory is that this hit came from the Purple Gang from Detroit, who were acting in retaliation for a recent whiskey hijacking that they had experienced. Supposedly, the Purple Gang had rented out a room across from the garage so they could watch Moran and his men. This other theory just kind of seems laughable to me, but these guys were ruthless, so who fucking knows? In this theory, this killing came from a battle royale.
Battle Royale.
Of the laundry business.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yes, it's true.
Very cutthroat business.
Very cutthroat. One of the men who was shot, his name was Albert Weinshank. He was a prominent figure in the dry cleaning laundry business in 1929.
Zips. We'll
Yikes.
clean your clothes and zip you up.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. So the police were even freaking considering Moran as a subject because he wasn't there. And it was like he maybe was just trying to prove a point to his men or something like that. And it was pretty coincidental that Moran wasn't there during the event. So it just led to a bunch of questions. Finally, investigators did revert back to the original theory. And that is that some policemen really were involved. Allegedly, Moran's guys had stolen a truckload of liquor from a crooked kappa. And he retaliated.
Can we go back to calling them kappas?
Kappas, yes.
Are you not
A knock.
a knock?
This was shared in the Chicago Evening Post, though the police officer's name remained, well, unnamed.
Well, unnamed.
It remained unnamed.
A week later, a burned Cadillac was found, but nothing came from that. So the last theory comes from a big break which arrived in December of 1929. On December 14th, a well-known bank robber and executioner named Fred Burke, also known as Killer, hit another car near the police station in Michigan, roughly 100 miles from Chicago. So Killer, if you can believe it, shot the cop dead right there.
Because he was a killer.
Because he was a killer. Police obviously went to this guy's house. They never found him, but they did find a bunch of fucking guns.
Like one or two?
That's how,
A
not
bunch
just
of
a
fucking
bunch of guns, but a bunch of fucking guns.
Yeah, 2 machine guns, 7 revolvers, 11 tear gas canisters, and a bunch of ammunition. Ballistics tests were run on these weapons, and if you couldn't guess, some of them were allegedly the same ones used in the massacre.
I'd like to know how accurate ballistics tests
I
were
know,
in the 30s.
I wondered the same thing, especially if they're trying to pin it on someone.
Yep, that's a bullet. Came out of that gun.
Mm-hmm. But one of these guns also was used in the assassination of Frankie Yale in New York. And if you remember, that was the friend that Capone went down to Florida to talk to the prosecutor about, his dead friend.
Okay, so that's the connection.
Ties back to Killer. So obviously there are way more questions than we have answers here. 2 innocent men were killed in the attack, so it's clear that at the time perpetrators were really angry and they just did not care about precision. They just went in and shot. There's also no theft in this attack, which also leaves me thinking that this was out of anger and potentially not retaliation, because these men had thousands of dollars in their pockets. So, you know, I feel like if it was retaliation for stolen liquor, they would have been like, this is my money, I'm fucking taking it.
And not to mention, like, Capone paid $40,000 or $609,000 in current money to stay at a place. Like, they weren't concerned about money.
Yeah. So, 2 fun facts, and that's it here. Fun fact, the garage that this happened in was meant to be demolished in 1967, but a fellow by the name of George Patel recovered the bricks from the wall, and they are currently on display at the Mob Museum in Las Vegas.
It's a weird place.
Isn't
Like,
that
why not
weird?
have it in Chicago?
Yeah. The museum also has an underground speakeasy and distillery, but it's less cool because it's advertised and it's open at like noon.
Oh,
you know? So you're
it's not a
so
speakeasy.
like, oh,
No.
well, you're here. Go down
We're
to
gonna have
our
a
pretend
speakeasy in the future, and
It's
it'll
like
be a
the-
real one.
Yeah, that's like the money bee. It's like, oh, we have a speakeasy. Walk
Nah.
right in.
Yeah, nah.
If I should have a speakeasy in here, we'll just knock out a hole in that wall.
And crawl through it.
That's the bar.
Nothing like the good old days.
So yeah, speakeasy.
Actually, through this wall is our bartender.
Yeah,
that's
see,
true.
there you go.
Oh, he lives above the bar?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's dope.
That's pretty cool.
He's very nice.
It's just like Luke's Diner.
it is.
It can just be called
We have our
Bender's
own Luke.
Squared.
So the second fun fact, and the last one, is that I have been to one of these famous Al Capone bars in Chicago. It's called the Green Mill. It is in North Chicago. And Al Capone's booth was in the middle of the bar, but towards the front of the seating. And it faced the front door. It didn't actually face like the music in the background or anything. And that was because he wanted unobstructed views of all of the doorways and easy access to an underground tunnel if it was to be raided by police. It was really weird. And the drinks are really expensive. And also, they have a cover charge there.
That's
really
lame.
expensive
I don't
one.
like that.
Cash only. You can't Zoom, nothing. Not Zoom. What is it? Venmo.
Cash app.
No zooming.
I got Zoom on my mind,
I can
man.
tell.
2021 is fucked up.
Yeah.
I had 2 Zooms today.
Really?
Yeah.
We were supposed to have one yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that person's not to be named, but I'm
Yeah.
very displeased.
Well, we had an interview set up. Hopefully, we'll be able to get one out again. But
Like most storms in Maryland, that storm never came.
Good one, Jay.
I'm not gonna. Don't. I'm not.
All right, so like any good gangster, we have to make a quick exit tonight. So
Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And Now We're Haunted, or on Twitter, it's at ANWH Podcast.
and we've looked into the void, and now we're haunted.